Hello lovelies! Summer is in full swing and I am absolutely loving it right now. But I have to tell you that these lazy summer days I am enjoying so much have really drastically reduced my motivation to cook. That being said, we all have to eat, which is why I thought it would be a good idea this month to share some quick and easy summer dinner recipes that come together in a flash but are bursting with amazing flavor. Starting with this unbelievably delicious herb and garlic pasta dish. I think you guys are going to absolutely eat this one up. It's full of lovely fresh herbs, which are so abundant this time of year, but it's also got a rich, cheesy, creamy texture, and it's kind of like a bit of a sophisticated mac and cheese. What is not to love? Now to get started, I have a nice big pot of boiling water on the stove. I'm just going to salt my water liberally. You want your water to taste like the sea, if you will. Now for this recipe, I am opting for some fusilli pasta. You can see it's got an adorable little corkscrew shape. I really love pasta like this because it's got lots of nooks and crannies for that sauce to hide in, which is super tasty. The only kind of pasta you probably want to avoid in this recipe are long pastas, things like linguine or spaghetti, just because there's not enough little divots for your sauce to stick to. Again, you can pretty much use whatever is in your pantry though. It's a very forgiving recipe. So I'm just going to get my pasta into my pot like so, and we are going to let that cook away for about 9 to 10 minutes or just until our pasta is al dente. Now that my pasta has had a bit of a head start, I'm going to get to work on mixing up my incredible herb and garlic sauce. Now, this all starts, as most of my favorite recipes do, with some butter. You don't have to use butter in this recipe. You could use some oil instead, but of course, I love butter because it adds a ton of richness and also a ton of amazing flavor. We're just going to let our butter melt down in our skillet. As soon as that butter is fully melted, I'm going to go in here with some shallot. So I've got one large shallot that I've just minced. I'm also going to get a good helping of garlic in here. I really want to see that garlic flavor come through. I'm using 2 cloves. You could go even as far as using 3. It really all depends how much garlic you love. The great part is that garlic and that shallot takes no time at all to cook. It gets super, super flavorful and fragrant. And that means it is time to add our cream to this. So I'm using some half and half cream here. You could also do this with milk if you want to keep it on the lighter side, or if you want to keep it a little heavier, you could go ahead and use some heavy cream as well. I'm just gonna go for it and add a good splash of cream right into my pan, and then just let it heat up with all of that amazing garlic and shallot flavor. The other thing I'm going to do at this point is to add about half a cup of my pasta water right into the pan. So the pasta water is now full of those beautiful starches from the pasta, which is going to help this sauce thicken up. It also is just going to give me a little more liquid to work with here. And just as soon as that mixture is simmering away, we know it is time to add our cheese to this. So this is a bit of a sophisticated take on a traditional mac and cheese, which is why I love it so much. In this recipe, I am actually using some crumbled goat cheese. Goat cheese is one of my favorite cheeses. It's super tangy, but it's also got a really earthy flavor that I love. Now for all of you goat cheese haters out there, and I know there are quite a few of you, you always have the option to swap the goat cheese in this recipe for some amazing cream cheese instead. You'll still get that nice tangy, salty flavor, but without the earthiness that goat cheese is so well known for. It's really up to you though. Woo! It certainly would not be my kitchen if I was not making a hot mess, splashing all over myself. Now I've reduced my heat to medium-low, and I just want to let this cook down, stirring constantly until that goat cheese is fully incorporated. Doesn't take very long, maybe a minute or 2. You can see how beautiful, smooth, and velvety my sauce has become. That is an amazing sign. It means it is time to transfer our pasta over. Our pasta is perfectly cooked, and I'm not even gonna bother straining my pasta in a colander. Who needs another dish in the summer? Are you kidding me? I am just basically going to use a slotted spoon to transfer my pasta directly into the pot. Once my pasta is transferred over, I'll give it a really good stir to get it nice and coated in that sauce. And then I'm going to let this cook for another, say, 2 to 3 minutes or so. That's really all it's gonna take. You'll notice that any additional liquid in the skillet has evaporated, and you've got this nice, thick, rich, creamy pasta dish that you guys are going to love. But we are not quite done yet. At this point, we need to add our finishers to this. So I'm gonna season it up with some salt and some pepper, and then I'm going to add a whole lot of beautiful freshness, starting with some freshly chopped green onions. I'm also going to be adding some nice fresh parsley, which I love this time of year. And finally, the most summery herb of all, I have got some fresh basil headed in here as well. We've got loads of gorgeous green happening. And guys, it's seriously as simple as that. Just a few ingredients in less than 15 minutes on the stove, and you have this unbelievably gorgeous pasta dish that your entire family is going to gobble up. At least mine did. I really hope you guys will give this unbelievable mac and cheese a try, and if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because you know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. Remember, the full recipe with all of the measurements is linked in the description box below. You can find it there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.